Right here. Lost Letterman. We have the hottest man. I'm gonna say in the state, even though he's national. We're gonna say this week he's definitely the hottest man in the state. We have with us Ramon Robinson. I like to call him the quarterback whisperer of South Carolina. Even though it's national, I'm going to say South Carolina, and we're going to go over his track record. But with Lenore Sellers, making his home debut or making his collegiate debut, this is the person who was really instrumental in Lenore's maturation as a quarterback. Ramon Robinson, what's going on, baby? What's going on,
Man,
Ramon?
not too much, man. Just finishing up some Super Sunday sessions with the middle schoolers and the high schoolers, man, and getting them prepared for this up and coming week, with it being week 3 now, and just tighten them up as a normal thing that I usually do. I've been doing since I've been in business. During the season, I usually do tune-up sessions with the kids just to keep them tight and right for the season, man.
Man, I'll tell you one thing. Before we came on, I was talking about this a little bit. I had to give you your flowers. Well, we give you your flowers every time we see you, but I have to give you your flowers. And it just looking at your roster of guys that you kind of have hands on. I'm going to say have hands on. It is remarkable, and we're going to go down a lot of the 2025, 2026, 2027, and 2028. And a lot of the times, you get a lot of credit for kids like Lenore's, and obviously Grayson Loftus, who went on to Duke, and a lot of the other quarterbacks. But I'm actually the thing that really impresses me is you put a lot of kids in low D1, D2, D3. You put kids everywhere. So just talk a little bit about your brand. And I know you're the quarterback whisperer, definitely in South Carolina, and I know you've got kids in Tennessee, in Atlanta. I know you're coming down here tomorrow. So, and I know South Carolina is your home base, but you do have a lot of kids who are outside of South Carolina. Talk about your brand from an overall perspective, and then we'll kind of get into some of your kids.
My brand, when I started in 2011, it came with a lot of, you know, thinking, and I always knew what I wanted to do after, post football. And, I had a conversation with a guy that we very well know, and I spoke about with you before, a guy by the name of Mr. Paul Warfield. And at the time, when I had threw for Brandon Marshall on his pro day, Mr. Warfield had a conversation with me. He said, your name has been out there as a street free agent for a while and on a lot of people's board. He said, but you're getting up in age, and it was just kind of like, what do you plan on doing, post football? And I always knew what I wanted to do. I always wanted to do something in regards to the youth and the community, and also with sports. And that's what I did. Once I retired and I ruptured my Achilles, that's when I had to put on my thinking cap in regards to what, what I'm saying, what I wanted to really do. A lot of people can talk about things that they want to do. It's just whether you're going to put forth that effort and put it in motion. And that's what I did. I just, in 2011, I did a lot of thinking, and what I wanted to do. I worked with all the top country, lot of the top recruiting agencies throughout the country. I started out doing camps and stuff with VTO Sports. Give my hats off to those guys. They gave me my first opportunity to do national camps and go around and work out all the quarterbacks throughout the 50 states and some, and just to give them a wide range of things that they may be running into or haven't seen before when it comes to the game of playing quarterback. Because a lot of guys just play just to be good on the high school level, when that shouldn't be your goal. Your goal should be to, if you're in high school, you should be preparing for the next level, because nobody wants to recruit a guy that's wanting to be just good for high school. You know what I'm saying? So when I got into business, that was my thing. And I was just like, I kept hearing all the backlashing about the quarterback position in the state of South Carolina, how it was so low and not really recruited. I mean, we had a bunch of guys that were, looked the part, but mechanically and everything, they wasn't there. And, as me being into business and started looking at, the things that these coaches are looking for, and I had to look at myself as being a former pro, I'm just like, okay, these are things that, you know, we worked on. We didn't have the quarterback coaches and things like that. My quarterback coach was going to watch a game and watching my favorite player, and then going outside and trying to
Exactly.
simulate, you know what I'm saying, trying to simulate everything as much as possible, whether that was football or basketball, baseball and things like that. But it's just that, I took it to heart when the guys, they was bashing how South Carolina quarterback play was not well, and me being a former quarterback, I took it to heart. So with me going around and I'm hearing the bashing, I made it a point to where, you know what, I'm not just going to go around and break down these quarterbacks in all these other states without coming back home and establishing a program to where I can help out the younger generation to where they don't run into these same roadblocks. And having all these folks talking in regards to South Carolina quarterbacks are not fundamentally sound. They look great, but they don't have it all. So go ahead.
No, finish up. I'm sorry.
And that's when I came back and I was like, I'm gonna make it my job up the quarterback play in the state of South Carolina. And ever since then, I've just been off and running. I've took the bumps and bruises. I've been talked about like a dog. I mean, in every way possible, just because these things wasn't norm for South Carolina. But you had the bordering states that had guys like myself that were out here tutoring these guys and helping them enhance their game on whatever level of play it was.
Well, we have some film here. We have some film here, and obviously Sellers is everybody's gonna be talking about Sellers and you, and rightfully so, because I know you guys have a deep history and it goes back many years.
Sir.
After Sellers, Cutter Woods, man, also in your camp. We got to roll the tape here on Cutter. Hold on a second. There we go.
Cutter Woods here. This is really well done. You see, he steps up to buy himself time.
Oh, buffering.
Yeah, it's buffering.
That's what you taught him.
Hey, climb the pocket.
Cutter Woods here. This is really well done. You see, he steps up to buy himself time, then move.
Man. Yeah. Hold on a second. Well, anyway, talk a little bit about Cutter and what you're anticipating from him next year as he matriculates to the University of South Carolina.
This is really well.
Cutter Woods, he came to me. He was in the sixth grade.
He steps up to buy
There's
himself.
a lot of history with what came with that is, and a lot of people didn't know that his dad played high school basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And once he moved down to South Carolina. So when he moved to South Carolina, I was one of the first guys he met in the gym. And ever since then, I took his dad under my wing. I was taking him to my neighborhood to play basketball with the real boys. You know how that go. Not the church league basketball, but out there on the concrete. And we had lost contact. And his wife did some research, and she's just like, we got to get Cutter some help. He really wants to play quarterback. And she, not knowing the connection between me and the dad at the time, always is just one of those things that Ramon, it comes up every blue moon. Like he told the kids he blamed me for his Achilles rupture in high school. And he said I was trapping him or whatever. So my name has always floated around in the high school, meaning the house. And but other than that, man, it's just they came and everything from there. It was just continuous growth. And he was a kid that had his eye on the prize in regards to what he wanted to do and what he wanted out of the quarterback position, not just on the field, but off the field with the mental part of the game, with knowing the coverages and things of that sort and learning how to be a leader. And those are things that he took in stride and just continued to keep working and pounding and just adding more things into his toolbox to where that's why he's in the position he's in now as, state champion from last year. Now he's rolling into the possibility of going back to another state championship and also committed to the University of South Carolina. So that's big in regards to goals and things that he set for himself.
Now, tell me about, and I hope I'm getting this name right, but Josiah Oxendine.
Josiah Oxendine.
Yes, sir.
Dual threat quarterback. Can make it all the throws. He can he's very knowledgeable of the game. Leader. Come from a great home. And without saying too much, man. He's in a great situation now. He's in a great situation now to where he can utilize his skill set. So
As and I'm sorry, this thing is buffering, but as I'm watching him play, man, he can spin it, man. He can
yes,
spin that rock down the field, man. If you're a DB, you definitely have to have some help on the top side or have a lot of speed. So he's definitely going to be one to watch. Just talk about your 2025s in particular. What some of the guys that you have in your camp right now, and who are you really excited about?
the next one is Gavin Owens. Actually, he was just on ESPN today at 1 p.m. They actually played Baylor School out of Chattanooga. Very good game, but they lost a close one to him, 21-14. But he's a big kid, South Carolina native, 6'4", 6'4" and a half, about 205. Strong arm lefty, can make every throw on the field. He's very knowledgeable of the game, not just throwing the ball, but mentally he knows how to do it. He knows how to do everything when it comes to being able to be a leader and a positive leader that people will follow. And he's a guy that has some offers out there, looking to pick up some more. I think he's going to be a guy that a lot of schools come around at the end and pick up at the last minute.
Okay. What
And
about I'm sorry, go ahead.
I can go to 2025, Chanston
Mhm.
Crosby. Chanston Crosby, another big kid, can throw it, can make the throws, man. His father's his head coach down in Bamberg, down in South Carolina. And he's another kid that did nothing but continuous development. And, I didn't say that with Gavin, but he's another kid. Everybody that I talk about, if I miss saying that they develop, just know that they are developed, because that's what I believe in. I don't just believe in just training. It's all about, can you develop what you're training? Anybody can go to the field and train. It's just that these guys are in the position to have offers and to be committed to universities, not just because they train. They developing while they're training, and that's why they're in the position to whether they're either committed to a college or whether they have offers to choose from at the end of the day. And Chancellor Crosby is one of those guys that has developed into a quarterback, a D1 Division I quarterback. He had P4 and offers and FCS offers, but he decided to go to North Carolina Central. He was committed to Georgia State. He decommitted. Now he's wanting to. Now he ended up committed to North Carolina Central, what I think is a great fit for him and his skill set. And the history with me and him go way back to his dad. Me and him played college ball together at Benedict College, and we hung out. We're still tight like always, still to this day. And I'm going over to Brandon Cunningham. Brandon Cunningham is a 2025 quarterback in a triple option offense. He doesn't really get to showcase the skill set that he has when it comes to throwing the football and doing things like that. But one thing for sure is he's the fastest quarterback in the country.
Oh
I would
wow.
say that, yes, he is the fastest quarterback. I know a lot of
Oh
guys
wow.
say, "Oh, he's the fastest quarterback." Now, Brandon went around camps all summer, even from last year, and he clocked nothing but 4.3s and 4.4 flats. And I think the slowest time he ran this past summer was like a 4.52, because he had to drive all the way to Gainesville, Florida. But to be fast, and I think he's a 10.6, a 10.7 100-meter guy. And a little things right there with him and his start is that he's much faster than he times. It's just because I had one of my guys by the name of Mike Johnson look at film on him coming out the hole, and he was just like, he get his start finished, fixed. This boy can be running 4.3s on a consistent basis, and possibly a 4.2, and can be running a 10.4. But and everything is all about the start when it comes with track, the start and the finish. But he is one of the top. He is the fastest guy
They,
at the quarterback position.
they say he's the best quarterback to come out of T.O. Hanna.
Why? Hey, hey, I'm gonna let you. Hey, I'm gonna let you have that. Hey, right now, hey, modern time, modern day, yeah, 2000. Yeah, I'm gonna
so,
let you have that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, keep going, man. I
Hey,
had to throw that in there. I had to
well,
throw that
check
in
this out. He's the fastest. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, he's the fastest.
Somebody I know you're going down your list, but somebody I definitely want to ask you about is Bryson Drummond. and Mountain
Bryson
View
Johnson.
Prep. I actually
Gotcha.
saw him play basketball last year.
Hmm.
And man, he's a hell of a basketball player. And I know he's good football. Talk a little about him at MVP and teams. You better get Mountain View Prep now because they're building something up there.
Yes, they are. And Bryson, and you speak of basketball, everybody up this way, we all have a basketball background. Like the last interview we had last year, is
Mm-hmm.
his dad was a top basketball player in the country and also in the state of South Carolina. Went on to play Division I basketball, and the pedigree of playing basketball is in his family, it's in his genes, and it's kind of hard for him not to be, a good basketball player. And then it's
Right.
just, football is
He's
something that he ended up picking up along the way. And at times I always question his heart, what did he want to do? Do you want to be a basketball player? Do you want to be a football player? Because at the end of the day, playing quarterback is not something that you pick up and put down. And it's not, I'm not getting on him, but I always spoke to him about that. It's like, dude, you can't just say, hey, I want to play quarterback now. No, it's something that you got to continuously do year round, regardless. You know what I'm saying? So it's always something that you have to keep your hands on. And he's a guy that he did some great things at Greenville High, and he saw an opportunity to go play for MVP and also play with one of the top running backs in the country, and I can't think of the guy's name, but he's one of the top running backs in the country. Got the Alabama offer and the Georgia offer, and plenty more. So the opportunity to go there and get a fresh start and play with those guys up there, I think he's in a good position to continue to grow as a quarterback and possibly get some other offers at the end of the day.
cool. So, do you want to go to the 2026s now, or do you want to? Do you have anybody else in 2025 you want to talk about?
Man, there's so many kids. I might miss somebody. So now, well, I got my guy Tucker Hendricks, and we talk about Tucker. Tucker Hendricks is a kid as well. He came up to me, and when I speak about these kids, all these kids, these young men now, they came into me as kids. These young
Mm-hmm.
men came to me at the age and when they was in the fifth and sixth grade. And people want to talk about development. That's where development starts. Development starts early along in the process, especially when you're talking about quarterback. And it's like I say, it ain't one of them things you pick up and put down. At the end of the day, if you want great results, I can tell you all the guys we spoke about before, their success on the football field and outside the football field with getting offers and things is because these guys stayed consistent in regards to their development and training. It's no surprise in regards to why these guys have offers, why they committed to these schools and things like that, and why schools are still contacting them to this day. You know what I'm saying? So, but Tucker is one of those guys that came to me. He was real small. He hit a growth spurt late, but he's one of those he hadn't matured yet for us with his body and his strength and a lot of throws that he couldn't make along with those guys. And now in the last 2 years, man, he's really, when I say stepped up and stepped his game up, not just as a quarterback, but just doing all the other things for us, getting stronger and faster, going to other personal trainers like myself to better himself overall. It's more than just throwing a football, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to take care of your body. And he went and did that. He also went and got faster and quicker and faster and things like that. And so now he got awarded and he did his thing. He won a state championship when people didn't think he could lead Christ Church to another state championship when they won it before. And I was so proud of him from doing that because not everybody's ready to step into a situation like that to follow behind another quarterback that won a state championship. They lost a lot, but they was rebuilding. Also, he comes in. Everybody not on his own. They not on him. They said they're not riding with him like they say they are
Mm-hmm.
until he got out there on that field and he started to prove himself, sitting in that pocket, taking big hits, not big as the other guys, taking the big hits, but still making the strikes and making the read. And now he's going to Clemson on a PWO. And I was so proud of him when he got that opportunity to say that he's committed somewhere, and that's where he's headed to now. He's headed to Clemson University on a PWO from all his hard work that he's put in over the years.
And we're gonna get to 2026s, but how much contact do you have with college coaches?
I have a lot of contact with college coaches. I mean, I do. And I used to call my phone the $1 million phone because people would love to have my phone with just some of the contacts that I have. And it's not just assistant coaches. I got head coaches' numbers. I'm not going to call out their names and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But it's it's a difference when people give you a card and say, hey, call me. Okay,
Mhm.
that card has your office number. Guess what? They can screen that call.
Well. It only makes sense because you know the player, and
Right.
especially from a quarterback from a quarterback perspective, not even the head coach of a high school, they probably don't know the quarterback position to the point that you do. So you're probably giving the coaches inside information and a different level of information. So let's talk about these 2026s that you have.
Oh, 2026 is in the class of 2026. Of course, it's no secret. Jared Curtis is one of the top. Some services got him as the number one quarterback in the country, who's committed to Georgia, and he's another kid that started out young, and just started to grow into the position. Now he's grown man status. He's 6'4", 220, and he's a guy that continuously grows, continuous growth, and still growing now. When I say the growing, it's growing into the game and growing into the position. And a lot of people just play the position, but they also got to be able to know what the position is about and what's expected at the end. And like I said, he's number one. He'll be a 5-star guy. Some people already have him as a 5-star guy going to the University of Georgia. My next guy up is Gilmore. Um, he's committed to Arkansas. He's at Gaffney. That's Javon Gilmore, 6'5", about 190 pounds. He's a guy that came to me. What crazy is when this young man, and I pray that everything continues to go well for him, he has a story to tell. He has a real story to tell. He's a kid that always wanted to play quarterback, but he was always the tallest kid on the
Yeah,
football team playing
he
in
is
the met.
tall.
Yeah, playing in the Metro. He's playing in Columbia, and everybody, of course, he's a tall guy. Let's put him at receiver, and he always wanted to play quarterback. So when his mom bought him to me, she was just like, "Hey," and I'm just like, "Hold up, this is a kid that's coming to catch for my quarterbacks and catching at the camps." I say, "He wanted to play quarterback." And he's like, "Yes, he's always wanted to be one." So when we started to talk, he started to let me know who his favorite football players were, and all his favorite football players were quarterbacks. And so next thing you know, I just gave him the third degree. I said, "Hey, you sure you ready to play this position?" Because everybody can't play. They can't take the constructive criticism from the people in the stands and the media. They're gonna talk down on you. They're gonna talk bad about you. I said, "Are you ready for that?" "Yes, sir." I said, "You sure? You sure people? You sure you ready for people to say, 'Oh, he sucks. Get his ass out the game', blah blah blah." You know what I'm saying? Put the backup quarterback. I say, "Are you sure? Are you ready for those things?" He's like, "Yes, sir." And so ever since he came to me, we've been on the grind, and I've seen nothing but development. And when he said something to me that just lit me up, was like, "Coach, I've been doing your drills. I see some of the drills you was doing. I've been doing your drills on my own." And I was like, "Say what?" I'm like, "Yes, sir. I've been doing drills on my own just because I really wanted to play quarterback." And then that opportunity came from somebody getting hurt when he was at Ridgeview, and he told him, he's like, "Hey, I can play quarterback." And he went in the game, played quarterback, and he was very successful. And ever since then, it's been off and running. He was at Ridgeview, transferred to Ben Limpet to get a true year on his belt to see if quarterback was really for him. And he showed a lot of great positive things in regards to being a quarterback and being a leader, to where now he stepped up and said, "Hey, you know what? Gaffney is looking for a quarterback. So I'm gonna go. If I'm gonna bet on myself, I'm gonna bet on myself at a 30 for 30 town when it comes to football and 5A football." And that he made a big statement throughout the state in regards to taking that chance and betting on himself and going to play at Gaffney High School.
He went from hold on a second. He went from Ridgeview to Ben Lippen to
And to Gaffney,
Gaffney and got a scholarship at University of Arkansas.
I said he had plenty of them. That's who he chose from.
Wow.
He chose between Texas A&M, Louisville, and Arkansas. That's who he narrowed it down to, and North Carolina State. But those are the ones he narrowed it down to. And
That is a hell of a story.
yeah, he has a hell of a story to tell, folks, man. And but we can go on to Josiah Oxendine. Josiah Oxendine was one of those quarterbacks that popped off the scene real quick, early in the eighth grade. Picked up a lot of offers, and he's continuing. Now he's trying to get back on that level of where he can make these offers committable with his play on the field this year. And like I told you before, he's a dual threat guy that can do it all. And another guy that's real big, probably all these guys I got, probably one of the strongest arms in the country is Cam McMillan. Cam McMillan was at Fairfield Central. He's down right now, had an injury that took him out during the summer, and I think he's expected back for South Point mid-season, I'm thinking. And Cam is another kid, 6'4", 230 pounds. Man, he can probably throw the ball 75, 80 yards. And not to say those other kids can't do it either, but when I say just raw talent and a lot of history behind that, I knew his dad. His dad coached baseball at Benedict, and he was one of the guys that talked to me all the time when I was at Benedict, when I was going through my phase of wanting to get back into baseball and things like that. And great family, and I'm wishing him well to get back on the scene. And another kid is Messiah Jackson over down at South Florence. And we speak of Norris. He's the guy that came in to pick up where Norris left off last year, along with another quarterback that I had. And he started out last week and had a good season debut. And I'm looking for him to continue to develop at the position and also take reins and just take over and just take charge and continue to lead South Florence with their winning ways and running towards that championship. Because what it is, I joke with them in Westside. I say, I guess y'all two will be playing against each other again. And I say, I don't have a dog in the fight. I say, because I train you both. At the end of the day, I didn't go to South Florence, and I definitely didn't go to Westside because that was my rival. But at the end of the day, when it comes to this business, I support all my kids. I support them all. It's not about my high school anymore. It's about these kids and what I can do for them to help them get in a situation to better themselves at playing that position. Because like I told you before, and these things and the platform that's out here for these kids now, it's no reason for them not to be successful. You just got to take the chance and move forward and bet on yourself, and to go with that, I got another guy by the name of Alex Sants down at St. James. He's going to be a guy. He's a sleeper in the 2026 class. He's the first year starter this year. And I'm looking for him, very athletic kid, can make all the throws. And I'm looking for big things from him as well. The other guy is Jay Stoker over at Easley High School. Nice pocket passer guy. I think he threw for 400 yards this past weekend. And he's a guy that can make every throw. And I'm talking about development. We talk about development. That's why I love talking about these kids, because it's all about development. I can give you some film on some kids. You'd be like, man, ain't no way in the hell this kid playing quarterback. You just taking their money. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's just like then when you start looking at the progress and things that they're doing, then you look at it and you see like, man, like that's what development is all about. And that's what makes me happy. It makes me get fired up when I see the development of these kids from the footwork to the arm strength and things like that, to their decision making and their leadership and just how they prepare for the game overall. And it's just and that's what makes a spark to me, because that's what I do. They know I'm a hard coach. I'm not no daycare worker. I don't do that. I'm gonna give them, you know what I'm saying? I don't run a daycare. So I'm gonna give them what they're going to get on the next level when it comes to coaches. Coaches going to get in you, and they're going to continue. They're going to stay on you. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that, can you take it? Can you take it in one end, not the other, but also correct the things that's going on with you and also continue to be a leader for the team? And, that's what I love about it, because that's why I'm preparing them for the next level to my style of coaching. Like I say, I'm not for everybody. I'm not for everybody because, like I say, if you want me to pamper you on the back like little Johnny and all this and that, not happening. It's not going to happen because it's not going to be that way on the next level. You know,
let, let me ask you this, Ramon. You talked about kids getting offers early. And I guess it might be different. What does an offer mean when you're a sophomore?
what does it mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. Hey, if you want the honest truth, hey, for you to get an offer as a sophomore, let's just be honest. If you get an offer as a eighth grader going into your ninth grade, which that's a ninth grader, right? Ninth and 10th graders, guess what? That offer is a interest offer. Okay,
It means
that's
we're
what
interested in you.
we're interested in you, because at
Okay.
the end of the day,
Okay.
you can't turn around. None of those kids, I don't care, nobody in the state in the country can turn
Uh-huh.
around and say, "Hey, I'm finna commit, because them coaches gonna be like, no, 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 no. Let's wait a little while and let's see where it goes from there. You know what I mean?
What?
But I will say this though, it has changed a lot, because at the position at quarterback, it has. Because the
Okay.
fact that they want to build a relationship, and people don't understand how hard it is to get an offer as a quarterback for these big prestigious universities and stuff like that, in colleges, because coaches want to they want to build a relationship so they can understand the quarterback and understand what they're going through, what type of leader they are they, and are they going to be able to, do what I ask him to do in a way that's going to be very respectable and embracing with his teammates. And so that's what it's all about. They're just trying to start that relationship to see what type of player do they have. And that's during that time when they're doing their research of seeing what you're posting on social media. Are you posting foolishness? Are they doing their research, and what are you doing in the schoolhouse? You know what I'm saying? How are you with the janitors? Or, are you the, what I'm saying? Those type of things. So that's when they're doing their research. But at the same time, that interest has to turn over to an offer. Okay, a
An offer,
committable,
offer.
committable. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And that's where it's like committable. And when they say it's an
Well,
offer, okay, then cool, I can go commit.
what,
But
I guess this is, and we're going to get back to the 2026s, and you can finish out with 2027s. But during, I guess, before, an offer meant like a commitment from the school, and now it's like they're dating. They want to they want to court.
they gonna
Have
court you.
you ever seen how difficult, and this is just your opinion, obviously. How difficult is it for kids to get offers early from, say, P5s, and then see those offers kind of go away as they get older? Have you ever
It's
seen that kind of play on a kid's emotions as they get
all
to
the
be
time.
juniors and seniors? Because obviously, you get that. I'm gonna take a hypothetical. You get that Georgia offer when you're a freshman or a sophomore. You're ready to sign.
Right,
You're probably like, I'm going to Georgia. There's
right.
nowhere else I'm going. And then say whatever happens and that offer goes away. Have you ever seen that kind of weigh on a kid emotionally?
I have. I see it all the time. I see it all the time. It's just you see a guy jump out here and just get all these big offers, and all of a sudden, once again, the key word we talk about is development. Okay, you can start out and get these offers as ninth graders. At the end of the day, if you're not showing growth within your game, then guess what? All that dies off. Then you want to try to commit to a school like that. No, when the last time you talked to them? You got what I'm saying? When the last time you talked to them? I mean, and it's simple. It is simple a lot of times, but I see it, and yeah, they get frustrated, but at the end of the day, they have to go back and sit down and look at it and say, hey, you know what? My performance on the field hasn't aligned up to what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? It's not aligning up to the schools that continue to offer me on this high level. And I see it all the time. I see it all
let,
the time, and I
let,
still deal with
I,
stuff like that to this day.
I got to go deep. I got to go deep, Ramon. I got to ask you the question. Parents, when they get that offer as a sophomore and freshman, they are ready to sign. They are ready to sign. When, or excuse me, if that offer goes away and it is no longer, in this example, Georgia, it's not a Power Five. How many times? Because somebody's got to get the blame. Somebody's got to get the blame. It's either going to be the head football coach, the quarterback. Somebody's going to get the blame. How often do you get the blame for something like that?
Oh man, listen, you listen, you don't even know the half, man. I will get blamed. I can get blamed for things that happen on the football field that I don't call plays. Okay? I don't call plays. I don't call protections. Okay? Well, he may have gotten sacked. He may have thrown an interception and so forth. Those are not things that I do. Okay? But I will get some type of feedback. Well, coach, you got to do something. What do I got to do? I'm a quarterback instructor. I teach them how to read covers and so forth. But I don't teach linemen how to block. I don't teach receivers how to catch. You got what I'm saying? But it's little things like that, man. And I call them helicopter parents all day long. And they know me. I'm gonna speak. I'm gonna say what I gotta say. And at the end of the day, it's just that I always tell them, you cannot compare yourself. And this is what the problem is. You comparing yourself to another kid that I train.
Right.
Okay. You can't compare yourself to another kid when your son is 5'10", right? You 5'10", then you got a kid over here that's 6'4", 6'5". He's the eye candy that people want to see, all right?
Right.
And you want to say, well, he's out playing him, so forth, whatever that may be. Well, check this out. One thing that they're going to do is they can go all in on that kid at 6'4", 6'5", because guess what? If he doesn't pan out to be a quarterback, they're already looking to say, hey, you know what? We can move him to wide receiver. We can move him to tight end. We can move him to free safety, so forth, whatever it may be. Depending on how everything works out. But at the end of the day, they're getting a bang for their buck, and at the same time, he's balling. He's seeing things. He's doing this and doing that. And you can't
Right.
compare yourself and you playing 1A football to a guy that's playing 5A football. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't, and that's where a lot of things come. They always compare them at the end of the day. It's just that you're never gonna listen, things that you can't teach, you can't teach size. Okay. That's just God given, man. And coming from the genes of the family or whatever it is, man, it's just those one things that you can't do. I mean, if they got it, they got it. So, I hear it all the time. Well, why this guy ain't get recruited? Well, it's a lot of factors that goes into why he's not getting recruited. You know what I'm saying? And it goes and a lot of times people don't see the things that coaches see. Okay. All they see is, okay, that was an incomplete pass, this and that, so forth. They don't look at how was his pocket presence? Where was that ball placement at? You got what I'm saying? Ooh, look at the velocity on that ball. Then they're going to look at, well, that receiver isn't top tier speed. Now I want to look at, now if I get him with these guys, that's a completed ball. You got what I'm
They're
saying?
projecting. They're
Yeah.
projecting. Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where a lot of people don't understand it. That's why me in my position, it's not about just instructing the position, but also understanding what they're looking for on the next level. And that's where it is. And it's just a lot of times a lot of things won't make sense to a lot of people just because a quarterback can go to a camp, and I've seen it happen. Quarterback can go to a camp and probably not hit one receiver. But guess what? If that ball jumping off their hand like a rocket, guess what? I can teach the consistency. I can teach the touch. You got what I'm saying? But if you can't make that 18 back to 15-yard throw, okay, you ain't no good.
What I would assume parents, that's what you're there for. But you have to be willing to listen to what you're saying, though. The,
You,
the
you
feedback.
gotta be you
You
gotta
you
be
got to be willing
willing
to
to
listen to the
listen.
feedback. Yes.
You gotta
Yes.
be willing to listen
Yeah.
and just stay and worry about you. And that's the hard part is
The things you can
worry.
control.
Yeah, control what you can control. You can't control what's going on
Right.
over here.
Right.
At the end of the day, y'all got different coordinators. You got coordinators that know how to make kids and set them up to be successful. And you got some that can damage a kid, okay, in regards to their development at the position. So it's just one of those things where, you got to control what you can control and stop trying to control what's in somebody else's household and what they're doing with me. I don't try. The thing about this with me, people know I don't train a kid no different. I train my kids that's in elementary just like I train my kids in college, and they getting it. They getting it on all. I say I don't care how young you are. You playing the quarterback position. You better grow some big ones. You know what I'm saying? Because they're gonna come at your head, and and that's what I love. I tried to back off, and my boys called me out this summer, man. Just like, oh, coach getting soft. He ain't doing X, Y, and Z no more. And I was just like, okay, say no more. Now all you're doing is making it worse for everybody else. You know what I mean?
Talk about the rest of the 2026 class that you have.
Oh man, got Dre Dobson at Brooklyn Casey. He's out right now. Had an injury, little health issue. He had to get corrected, but I'm looking for big things from him this year at Brooklyn Casey. Man, 6'1", 6'2" quarterback, dual threat guy, transferred from Great Collegiate. I'm looking for big things out of him, and he's developed as well. Tighten up a lot of things while he's been down, and just being ready when it's time. I think he's out for 2 more weeks, and then he's going to be pretty jacked up to get back out there on that field, man. And I'm just looking forward to seeing how he does when he comes back. And the other one is big Caden Thomas out of Sherraw, big 6'5", strong arm kid, man. And he came to me this summer, man, had a few mechanical issue things that he needed to correct, man, and will continue to correct going into his senior year. But he's a big time thrower, and looking for some positive things from him as well. And another kid is by the name of Kagan Reed. Kagan Reed is at Powdersville, 6'4", gunslinger. Well, he reminds me of Grayson Loftus. Grayson Loftus, at the window is this big, Grayson Loftus is gonna get that ball through here. It don't have to be this big because he has that arm and he has that tenacity and he has that dog in him to where there's no fear in him. He's like, I'm gonna make this throw. And I just call him a new age type Brent Favre type quarterback to where, Brent Favre didn't care who was on him. He gonna fit that ball in there. And he's another guy that has great potential and will be a highly touted kid by the time this football season is over.
Man, you must have like 20 TVs in your home, man. Looking at all these guys because you do it Fridays and Saturdays, and I would assume some now on Sundays as well. I mean, and probably middle school too. I mean, you're constantly looking at quarterbacks and staying in their lives and staying connected with them. Let's talk about 2027. There's one gentleman, even though he's not probably the highest rated. Can you start with Trey Howard at Ridgeview? My question about Howard is I know that they've got a fantastic receiver there at Ridgeview. How much does that help him?
Well, let me correct you. People just know Gordon, but Ridgeview has a hellified receiving corps. Okay,
Okay.
and they've
One of
always
them is Gordon.
yeah,
One
yeah,
of them is
yeah,
Gordon.
yeah. Gordon is that guy. Yeah, he's the guy that's
Yeah.
getting all the offers. But to say it's just him, no, he's the one that's getting the pub and getting all the offers. But they have a great, solid
Well,
receiving
that's
corps.
that's that's even better. But
Yeah,
that makes my
yeah.
question:
So
how much
with
does that help him?
Oh, it helps him out, especially with you having a young quarterback. But the thing about it is, what I love about Trey is Trey has grown up in that quarterback pedigree. He has that pedigree in him. His dad was a quarterback, played at Morehouse. You know what I'm saying? And then now he's been in my hands for some years now. And it's just Trey is not your average quarterback.
Okay.
Trey knows the game. He's a coach. He don't those receivers may help him out, but he's also in position to help them out just because he knows the offense through and through. And at the end of the day, he's that coach that's on the field. And yeah, he's young. People look at him as he's young, but he has that dog in him. Yeah, he's not the eye candy that most people want to see, but I call him the high school Bryce Young just because he's fundamentally sound. He's gonna make those throws, he's gonna make the runs, and at the end of the day, he's going to be that guy that can pull it off in the end just because of his pedigree of being able to be that guy and to engineer a drive. And I see that in him. And I haven't seen, I saw him today, man. And it's just, I don't know. He just makes me smile every time I see him, man, just because of people look at him and they just be like, oh, he ain't that good. And I'm looking at him like people just don't know what they got right here in this kid here. You got what I'm saying? And if I put him in Texas, I put him in Texas, he probably had 10, 15 Power Five offers right now.
Really?
Yes.
What's the difference?
We've came a long way in South Carolina when it comes to recruiting the quarterback position, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. There's plenty of guys that's in Texas that's not Division I quarterbacks, but just because of the history of quarterback play
Okay.
from Texas and from the Californians and things like that. Now it's getting like that in Georgia. You know what I mean? To where they'll take a chance on a guy that's at that 5'10" stature and just make him a dog and make him a top tier guy. And I say that with and I stand on it. It's just if he's in a different state, okay, I may exaggerate 10 to 15, but I can promise you this, he would have 5 to 10 Division I offers just because he's more than just what you see. People want a student of the game, and he's a student of the game. He knows football. He knows football. He can talk football. And at the end of the day, he's hungry. And I always humble these kids. I don't care what kind of game they had. They'll do. I say you still trash. Okay. I keep them that way, man. It's just they know I'm gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? But he's a guy, man. When you spoke about him, he's a guy I love to train, man. And he's a sponge, man. He's sponge. He just soaks it all up, man. he soaks it all up and he just apply it to his game.
Well, who else is out there in that 2027 class that might not have
Uh,
the receiving core that Trey has, but it's still a
no,
dog?
another the 27 class, like I said, it's a great class. And the other guy that's highly recruited in that class is Grayson Clary over at Daniel High School. He's another kid, 6'2", about 205. He won the starting position this year, picked up some offers this summer, and I'm looking for him to make some big noise. And he's going to be another top guy that's in the state of South Carolina. And another guy is Xavier Means. Xavier Means is at Northwestern, another 6'1" dual threat quarterback that can make all the throw. He's a backup right now, and I'm looking for him to just be ready when his number is called. I mean, they got a good quarterback at Northwestern, but next year I think he's gonna do some things that haven't been done at Northwestern when it comes to playing quarterback. You know, they used to more of the just a pocket guy just throwing, but he's a guy that can throw it and put it down, and you know, he can put his foot in the ground and go when he needs to go. And I'm looking for some big things from him. And another guy we have is Bryson Orflin over at Palmetto High School. Um, Looking for some big things for him. He's stepping into a starting role as well at Palmetto High School. Another guy's Gunnar Lauder over at Chesney. Another guy. All these guys, when I say that, they came with me young and they developed. I'm looking for big things for him. He's the starter at Chesney High School, man, and he's doing some great things, and he did the things that was properly needed to be done and corrected this summer to be the starting quarterback at Sherrall. I mean, not Sherrall, but Chesney. And then we have what's my guy name? Franklin Richardson. Woo, big boy. He's probably about 6'2", 6'3", about 220.
Hmm?
Playing quarterback. People look at him, oh, he's not a quarterback, so forth, but he can play the position. He came to me this summer and wanted to correct some mechanical things and some footwork. Man, the Joker wear 15 shoe, man. I think it might be a 16. But big joker. His feet remind me of Kelly Bryant's feet when Kelly came to me, man. And
What the last if I might be dating myself, but the last really good quarterback from Sumter was named Wally Richardson, who went
Wally
to Penn
Richardson.
State. So
Always,
so
yeah, that's exactly. So you know what I asked him, what was so crazy is, man, I've had two quarterbacks from Sumter, and one of them was Malik Richardson. Malik was at Western Carolina,
okay,
and he just transferred to South Carolina State. Actually, he ended up
okay.
switching positions in college, and I asked him, I said, "Are y'all kidding Wally?" And of course, them being young boys, they don't know nothing about Wally Richardson. You know what I mean? But the family,
Like, who was
yeah, who
that?
was that? The family do. But I was like, y'all got to be kin. All y'all from something. It's like I don't even know if we kin or not. I was like, man, come on, y'all got to be kin. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. And we have Gerald Gibson as well. We got Gerald Gibson that's at Lower Richland. And I also forgot one of my 25 quarterbacks before we jumped is oh shoot, Aiden Jones. Aiden Jones is a dual threat quarterback that transfers from Spring Valley. Um, Dual threat guy. I'll talk to him about it, and he's probably about 5'9", 5'10", but he can put his foot in the ground and he can make a lot of throws that people don't think he can make. And he's starting out pretty good over there at Lower Richland this year as a starter. And this young man Gerald that I'm telling you about, he's his backup. He's a young gunner. He's 6'2". He's going to get there, and this is a great year for him to sit back and process the game and learn a little bit more from Aiden as well. You know, and I think he's going to do a great job when it's his time to step in to take over as a quarterback at Lower Richland.
Man,
And
keep going, keep going. I'm sorry.
now I have another guy by Big Ben Dow. Ben Dow is a 6'6" lefty at Pickens High School. Can sling it. Hey, I don't know what they got in Pickens besides him, but they got a 6'6" strong arm lefty that can make the throws, man. And he's been a guy that's been in the program for a minute too as well, and he's been developing as well. Basketball guy. I knew his dad. His dad played against his dad in high school, And I said his name wrong too. His dad name is Ben Dow. His name is Brooks Dow. And I'm not messing their name up right now. I always mess it up. They be like, no, I'm not. I'm, I'm not Ben. I'm Brooks. So
Hey,
yeah.
Ramon,
So,
I don't know how you remember all these kids' names, man.
hey
I don't do
man,
not know how you remember all these
hey,
kids' names, man.
just like remembering plays. People be like, how you don't write this stuff down? I just be like, man, I just have to go off the dome. I'm used to off the fly. You know what I mean?
Uh,
And that's just like with me missing a couple names here and there. But other than that, I'm gonna give them their props.
well, we're gonna, and I know you got 28s out there. Man, we'll be here all night if we keep going on
Nah,
all of
we
your classes.
we
But
good.
we,
We good.
we and thanks for going down on that. I want to get to sellers, but one question I have for you in terms of your own process, and I know you do a lot during the summer. And man, this QB legacy that you got with Donovan McNabb, Jeff Blake, Ron Veal, that's a whole nother podcast, man. That is fantastic. The work you guys have been putting in with the QB legacy. But my question is, how do you keep up with everybody during the season?
Um,
What's your process in terms of keeping up with everybody? And I know development is your big. That's kind of your big word that
yes.
you put your hat on. And I'll just be honest. I would assume parents when they start, they want to see the progress or whatever. So how do you keep up with all your guys during the year? What's that
Well,
process look like?
majority of the time, I mean, I got everybody in a group chat from the
Okay.
sections that they're in. Like I have an upstate group. Those quarterbacks are in a group chat. I have my Midlands quarterbacks. They're in a group chat. PD area and Low Country, they're in a group chat. So now, like when I'm doing my Super Sundays, that's where I put the information. A lot of times I don't have to keep up with them. They're gonna make sure I keep up with them. Okay.
Hmm.
Because they want to send me their film. They want to send me their stats. And coach, can you check this out? Can you look at this? But I got to the point to where I just put everybody section wise where they at throughout the state of South Carolina, just because they're in that group chat. Just like with me training, I'm keeping up with everybody and I'm following them. And like I said before, you said something earlier. If you ain't keeping up with them, parents gonna make sure you keeping up with them. Okay, they go, hey,
Well,
they gonna make sure you knew he threw for this and threw for that. You know what I mean? So, it's been it's been a process of building that 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 bond and also the the relationship with everyone just because of that. You know what I'm saying? And everybody, I preach, positivity and I preach brotherhood with these guys. That's your brother. Just because he's not birthed by your mom or your dad, but that's your brother. Y'all got to root for each other. At the end of the day, I don't care if y'all line up across from each other. At the end of the day, I want you to root for each other to do well.
that's the thing that's so difficult. I would assume in football, you got so many players, but there's only one quarterback.
All right.
And you were talking about a few of your kids who I'm sure are really really good, but they're not even starting right now because it's not their time yet. They got somebody else there, and it's probably difficult to kind of wait your turn. So how much do you actually have to get involved with the emotional aspect of you got to wait your turn, things of that nature. That I assume that's a part of development as well.
Yes, it is. That's just for an example. I always tell quarterbacks, just like that, you could be in. Snap of the finger, you could be in the game. So at the same time, don't ever take yourself out the game. Always, and when we talk about this, and I said early on when I was doing some interviews, and we was talking about Grayson Loftus, talking about Lenoris, and it's just that when those guys were on the sideline and both of them were behind draftable guys. Of course, we know Spencer got drafted, Daniel Jones, not Daniel Jones, but I forgot his name. He ended up transferring from Duke, going to
Right.
Notre Dame, and
Right.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like you have to prepare yourself as though you have to push them to be the best them they can be, and you also have to push yourself to be the best you that you can be. But how do you do that? Just because that play is called, you just don't sit on the sideline like everyone else. Like I told you before, I don't
That's hard.
train. Yeah, I don't train these guys no different from the collegiate level down to elementary. If you're on the sideline and you're backing up a guy, put yourself in the game, put that play in your head. You got to go through it with yourself. You got to, you know what I'm saying? And just go through it and imagine yourself taking that drop in live action and where you're making that read. If it's a cover three, a cover two invert, cloud sky, cover four, whatever it may be, cover one, cover zero, so now that's what you got to do. You just don't sit on the sideline and listen and joke and laugh with everybody else. You have to put yourself in the game. I tell them all the time, you ain't starting physically, but you are a starter too, because you know why? You got to be ready when your number's called, because you never know when your number's going to be called.
Man, you're a hell of a coach. That what you just said is hard to do.
Yes,
It's
it is.
hard. It
It's
is.
very hard to do. Trust me. I've been in that position. I've been in that position.
Yeah.
And we've all,
Especially
like I
at
said,
15, 16 years old, man. So,
yes. Hey,
yeah. Especially if
I
you think you should even.
say what now?
I said, if you think you should be playing, it is even harder.
Yes. So if it's like my situation from high school, I can honestly tell you I wasn't doing that because I was somewhere else.
Thank you
You
for
know what
being
I mean?
honest.
Yeah, I wasn't there, but just because of the situation at hand, and it's
Right.
just
Right.
it's hurtful. And when I talk about it, because I don't deal with politics and things like that. I don't deal with daily politics, and I don't deal with sports politics. At the end of the day,
Right.
they're all wrong. You arguing with somebody that it doesn't matter. At the end of the day,
Right.
their opinion is going to be their opinion. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to do what they want to do regardless. And at the end of the day, that's just like whoever's going to be the president. We can say we want this person or that person. Guess what the world going to still do? It's going to continue to still run
Right.
regardless. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it's just like when they make that decision, they making that decision. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to continue to do what they do. You know what I mean? So I don't get into the politics of sports and the end of the day because I understand it. I don't want to understand it, but it's just that I've been through so much playing this game at a young age to where I can tell you I wasn't that guy sitting on the sideline like I'm telling these guys, like, hey man, run this play through your head. Nah, man, I know I'm better than him. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing it. They know it. He know it. At the end of the day, you have a lot of situations like that. But have I grown? I've grown a lot. You know what I'm saying? I've grown to the point of once I got out of that toxic situation, I was able to grow as well as a young man and a man, and also at the position. Because when you know things ain't right, it's hard for you to
Yeah.
listen at me and say, "Hey, man, this is
Man.
what you need to do." Like, man, coach, I'm better than him. Da 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 da. And that's when it comes in. I say, son, I've been there before. Okay.
Yeah.
But
That's tough.
trust and believe things will get better. But when it's your time, that's the thing. Don't complain and not be ready.
You gotta be
It's a
ready.
difference.
You gotta be ready.
You got to be ready. You
Yeah.
got to be ready. So at the same time, when things like that with me came, I was ready.
Right.
Regardless, I was ready because I had that chip over here and chip over here. And it was just like, man, I'm finna go in here and show these people why and why I should be the guy and why I should be the guy. And that's a lot of times I tell these guys, regardless of you liking the situation or not, you got to be a team player. And at the end of the day, always have yourself prepared when it's your time.
That's actually a really good life lesson. That's a really good
Yeah.
life lesson. My last question, I'm gonna get you out of here. I'm sorry, we kept you
Uh, we
longer than I
we
thought we would,
fine.
but I didn't know you were gonna know every player and their background. But
I missed something, man. What you talking about?
oh, I know you did. I know you did. You would take it to
Uh,
the sixth graders if we could.
hey, hey, man, I got some dogs down there now.
My last question for you is man, and I know you got so many kids, man. You got so many kids, but I'm just gonna focus on two of them right now. Um, Loftus and Sellers. How proud are you? And I guess I'm a generalize it, not just the Sellers and Loftus, but how proud are you when your kids do well, man? And and not necessarily on the field, but just when they get it and they really start reaching their full potential.
You know, and you say that, I say that just you ask that question, and you're not the only person that's asked that question. Um, those are kids that bought into me, bought into my program. You got what I'm saying? They bought into me and they believed in me, not just as young quarterbacks at the age of, the fifth grade with Grayson, sixth grade with Lenars. They bought into me and I poured into them. Okay. And the families, not just them, but them as a whole. And they stayed the course, man. I'm saying from fifth grade and sixth grade, they continuously train, grind, got better, develop. And that's what they done. Because they believed in me and what I was teaching. They believed in, everything that we was doing with EPT, man. And it's just, they listened for one. Everybody don't want to listen. And you know what I'm saying? And they stayed loyal. They stayed loyal. And in this game, loyalty is not a good thing, brother. It's hard in this training world because you have so many backstabbing people that's in the inbox doing this and that, doing all these different things. Hey, you're doing this wrong, that wrong. You know how easy it is to recruit a kid to come train with you. All you gotta do is tell me you're doing something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you're doing this wrong. You need to come train with me. I got this guy and that guy. And guess what? Ultimately, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with that kid. It's just that's how toxic this training world is you got the good ones out there and you got the ones that are bad as well. But those guys there have been loyal to me and I've been very loyal to them in regards to just helping them in every way possible. And those guys bought in. Like I said, they bought into it. They're good friends and they competed. You got to think about it. When they came out of high school, one was the number one pro style quarterback in the state. The other one was the number one dual threat quarterback in the state. And both of them are state championship quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I have a lot of state championships now. I mean, I might not physically got the rings, but I can say I'm a champion over and over again. But it's just those are guys that honestly that really took on the position and did it as a pro at an early age. They did
Right.
it as a pro. They carried themselves like a pro in regards to everything that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And just it was very hard for both at the time last year to sit and watch those guys play. You know what I'm saying? Especially because they had
Well,
both
they
of them got
played
championships.
behind two dudes, though. I
No,
mean, they
that's what I'm
played
saying.
behind two
Yeah,
dudes, man.
yeah, they played behind them, but also at the end of the day, the competitive nature of the two, you can't tell them they weren't the starters of the team. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing because that's how you got to go into thing. That's how you got to go into. You don't go in there undefeated already. Oh, this guy's better than me. What they did was they competed on a level of saying, yeah, I'm better than them, but in a professional way. You got what I'm saying?
Right.
In a professional way, not in a toxic way of talking about the guy doing this and that. Those guys had two great relationships. Lenars had a great relationship with Spencer Rattler. The other guy was Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard. Grayson had a great relationship with Riley Leonard. They helped these young guys along the way. You know what I'm saying? They embraced them. They gave them the nuggets that they had and the things that they went through, and that's why they're in the position they're in now. Now, Grayson didn't get the position. I will leave it at that. I I'm always be for my guys, and I stand on that. And I thought that it was his. He did everything that he needed to do. But at the end of the day, hats off to Malik. You know, I know Malik as well, but I'm always rooting for my guys and gonna pick my guys when I know because Grayson had a heck of a freshman season, man, stepping in the
Yeah, he
environment
did.
that he stepped
He
in,
did.
man, and people
He
not
did.
giving him enough credit for what he done for Duke. You know, it could have been another situation where Duke don't go to a bowl game. You know, and people looking at things, people don't realize he's just a blown coverage away from going into North Carolina and beating Drake May, who went the first round. And you got a freshman that came into Chapel Hill. He got ice in his veins. You know, he got ice in his veins, and he went tap for tap with it, man. You know, so it's just, and then you roll over to Lenars. You know, the snaps that he got. Hey, he made them count. That's what it's all about. When you get that opportunity, make them count. Make them see who you are. Make them believe in who you are. And that's where you see the hype and everything that's going on right now. But I can honestly tell you, and not bragging about the young man, those guys are built different. They're built different, man. There's some different guys when it comes to the game, and they got a different tenacity and spirit about the game, man. To where it's just long as they be who they are, not being nobody else, they're going to do what they got to do, man. They buy into the offense with their offensive coordinators and grow within the offense. They're going to do great things.
I told you I was my last question, but I'm gonna ask you one more, and then we will get out of here. How has the portal changed what you do with all the movement in college football, or has it changed at all what you do?
Man, this one became a norm now. I mean, it really has. The portal to me is more for guys. I mean, not more for guys. It hurts more the guys that's in high school right now.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, because the fact of it is, some colleges are used to taking 2 kids. Now they may go take a high school kid and a portal kid. So usually now, those 2 quarterbacks that they usually take, they may take a 5-star and then drop down and take a 3-star, 2-star guy, right? They're not doing that anymore. Now that what they're doing is they're going after the guy that they want, and they're looking to see who's disgruntled and not happy at another place, and taking that guy just because, for one, he already has that experience of being a college athlete, to where now he knows the ins and outs and the ropes of of a college student athlete. So they're going to take that guy over a young guy that's still trying to find his way, and it's hurting more guys in high school with the portal versus guys that's at college. And but then again, you see some crazy situations, man. You got quarterbacks swapping teams just because somebody may have paid them this more money, that vice versa. So it's the pros already, man. I tell people all the time, it's the pros. They're already in the pros, man.
it's the Wild Wild West, baby.
It's the wild, wild west. And Kumo D ain't nowhere around.
Well, you know
Yeah.
what, man? Shout out to you, Ramon. It's always good catching up with you. We could definitely gonna catch up with you later on in the year. Hopefully, it won't be an hour and 10 minutes. But I see that Black Panther man in the background. I know you're always gonna keep that legacy going, man. And much
Listen, man.
respect to you, and much respect to the rest of the TL
Man,
Hanna crew up there, man.
yes, sir. You already know what that is. That's Bozeman. That's Chad Bozeman, baby. Salute.
I'm,
Salute.
I'm so sorry to value you the second best quarterback in TL Hanna history
Hey,
with my man who's coming up.
hey, don't you start that, man. Hey,
Much respect to you, Ramon, man, and we'll definitely catch up later down the line.
it's always good to talk.